Okay, welcome back. This is going to be the first part into the chapters area, so let's go ahead and get things started. The first thing that I do want to do is go ahead and in here, I think I want to do it above. No, I think I'm going to do it right here. This right here, I'm just going to just say init chapters. And right in here, this is where I'm just going to just set up a chapter. And of course, it is going to give us some errors along the way because we haven't created a class for this yet. But I just want to give you just a setup of what is to be expected. So this is going to be chapter 1. And in here, I want to have a introduction, a let's say conflict, and a resolution. Okay. So just name these whatever you want. So this is the chapter 1. This is what the first chapter is going to be called. And then right here is going to be like the subchapters. So subchapter 1, 2, 3. I named it conflict and resolution. Just I have no idea what else to call it, but just to make things simpler. Yeah, this is what it's going to be called. Yeah. So and also I also want to do this as well, so it can get set up in the future line. Chapter 2. And then here is going to be called Intro 2. Cool. Alright. So get that set up right here. This is the init chapters. This is in the start method is where you're going to be pushing out all the chapters and everything. I think I may switch this around and put this in its own separate file, just so that it's not, because there's a lot of chapters. I don't want to be looking at it. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do that at a later date, at a later tutorial part. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is create a chapter class, because if we go ahead and run the game, this is not going to know what the hell this is. So in here, new file, let's call it chapter _ management.rpy, because this is where the the chapter management is going to be. All the chapters going to be, like all the functionality, classes, and everything. That's where chapter management is going to be housed. So let me go ahead and see what else I need. I think that is all that I need. Okay. So of course, with anything, if we're dealing with classes, init Python, if I could spell Python. And then the next thing is I am wondering if I want to put subchapters in its own separate class, or just put it in as just a class under chapters class. And either or, it shouldn't cause any issues, because if you do have it as the as a chapter class, like as its own separate thing, like for example, if we just have like the class sub chapter, that, and then if you just have it like another class of chapter, can't spell chapter, like if they are in its own little separate entity, I mean that should cause no problems. But for me, I may just put it in its own thing. So let me go ahead and do that. Like, no, I cannot talk. I'm going to just go ahead and put it in the chapter class, because like this, class sub chapter, because there we go. This is pretty much writing off of what this is, because the subchapter within the chapter, it would make sense And that's pretty much what that's just my workflow on this. And of course, within this, we're going to go ahead and create a init class for subchapter of name. Self.name is equal to name. And then self.completed is equal to false. Because the subchapter isn't completed because we haven't even started anything, so that's why we're making it false. Let me go ahead and look at the time. We're good still. Okay. And the next thing, so now that so the subchapter class is done, because all we need is the init, the name completed. Cool, awesome. Next, we're going to do the init method for the chapter class. So define init self. We're going to have a name, and we're also going to have subchapter. Subchapters. Cool. Again, self name is equal to name. Self.subchapters is equal to, so it's going to be called this, so we're going to call this, which is going to be self.subchapter. And in here is going to be the name of it, whatever, like how many chapters there are. So you can either put label to make it easier. I'm going to put, or you can put anything in here, honestly. I'm going to put SC for subchapters. And then for SC in subchapters. And that's just going to call, it's just going to grab whatever, how many subchapters are in the main chapter, if that makes sense. Self.current subchapter index is equal to 1. And then finally, completed is equal to false, because we want to know if a chapter, like a full chapter, is completed or not. Same as the subchapter. If the subchapter is completed, awesome. If one chapter is completed, cool. Okay. Now we need a method to start it. So we're going to do start self and self.current index is equal to 0. So we're going to set it at 0. And then we're going to call it Ren'Py.call. And we're going to do self.subchapters. And it's going to be for the current chapter index and whatever the name is. Okay. So to get that started, the next thing that we are going to do is, let me go ahead and go to script. I'm going to create a label called whatever this is, whatever that you have called in here. These are pretty much the label names. Introduction, conflict resolution, intro 2. These are the label names. And in here, I'm going to put if not chapter 1 dot current sub. Okay, I need to make a method for that. Dot completed. We're just going to say E for Aline is going to say welcome to the game. And then from there, I want to complete this subchapter. That way it's not shown again. Dot current subchapter dot completed is equal to true. And then we're going to return it. Why are we returning it? Because we are calling this, because we're calling it. We are calling it. And the next thing, like I mentioned, I need to create a method for a current subchapter. So let's go ahead and do that. Define current subchapter of self. And in here, it's going to be the if self.current subchapter index is greater than or equal to 0, and self.current subchapter index is less than, and however long the subchapters are. And then we're going to return it self.subchapters self.current index. And then else, we're going to just return none. Cool. So that should work good. That should be good. And we're about to hit the 10-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and go into the player method. No, not player method, location sets. Because we do need to call it. Yep, there it is, call introduction. I must have left that in there. Yeah. So the next thing, as you can do, is just pretty much just call introduction. That's pretty much what it is. We are calling the introduction. We are calling this method, this label, the introduction label, and then that's pretty much what it is. And then to fix that loop that we saw in the last video of, if we go to a different room like the hallway and then come back into it, it may show the message again. And to counteract that, we just say this is equal to true, and then it doesn't show anything. So let's go ahead and test this out again. Add call introduction, and this is going to be changed in the future because we're going to create a separate a function where everything will work and come together. There it is. Welcome to the game. If we go back in here, there it is. So that kind of like in the last video where we had like true and false, and if false, and it won't show it again. This is the workaround to that. And of course, if we go, to set, y'all get the gist of it. But pretty much, I'm going to stop it right here. And the next part, what we're going to go ahead and do is just build upon this, and then kind of like change this, where we don't have to do like call whatever the next one is, like conflict, call conflict. I don't want to have to like do that all the time for like every single one. I want to create a function like this. So that's what's going to be in the next video. So stay tuned, guys. Again, if you found this video helpful, join the Discord community. I'm always answering questions. Atsoka's always answering questions. We're trying to build a good community. Don't forget to join the Patreon as well, so you can get early access to videos and unblurred content and future content as well that I cannot show on YouTube. So with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.